You're watching News Central now on News Central Television. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Casualty toll rises from Iran's Nigerian military airstrike on Christmas Day in Sokoto State. Troops arrest terror kingpin Bello Turji's female ammunition supplier in Zamfara. Civilians killed in airstrikes by Sudanese army. Details shortly. And now the news in detail. No fewer than 19 casualties have been confirmed following airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force on 2 communities in Sokoto State. The strike carried out on Christmas Day as Nigerian military targeted terrorists belonging to the Lakurawa terrorist group, allegedly hibernating in Gidansama and Rumtuwa communities. An attack claimed to have affected several innocent residents in the communities. Although the defense headquarters has denied targeting innocent civilians, residents of the community have dismissed these claims, calling for justice. Meanwhile, the Sokoto State government has commenced the distribution of relief materials to the 2 affected communities in Gidansama and Rumtuwa, targeted by the Nigerian Air Force during a Christmas Day bombing incident aimed at neutralizing members of the Lakurawa terrorist group. Now, while the state governor had promised the affected communities the sum of 20 million naira and 100 bags of grains to ease their suffering, News Central Television spoke to a member of the distribution team on ground in the communities.
Vigilante O2 na wanda gari na gunduma gandi so kai me aikin ka me zaka je yanzu
dama zan je gidan bisa ne inda wannan hadari ya
okay gidan bisa kenan na kusa ga gidan sama kenan
da
rumtuwa okay he's going to gidan bisa, of course the gidan bisa forest and the gidan sama village, they are all the same name. Of course he's saying that he's going to deliver the properties being delivered by the governor. So kaya guda nawa kenan ga mana
wannan gero guda 30,
about 30 bags of millet,
masara guda 30,
of course maize 30 bags,
shinkafa dangote guda 40,
of course dangote bag 10 bags of 40 bags of rice ko
sai kuma miliyan 20 wadanda aka ba su rage radadi
amma miliyan 20 bayan tare ka an ba ma ciyaman ko the 20 million, but 20 million is not here with him in the bush. Is inside with the governor, is in the chair with the chairman's place. Local government chairman, the Silami local government. Abubakar Getara is the chairman of Silami local government. He's in possession of the 20 million naira given by the governor of Sokoto State, Governor Aliyu, and of course 2 million naira Kumako.
2 million
also given to the governor to give to those who are going to share the palliative, so that they will not tamper with. Of course, so they won't.
Now, still on the Sokoto State bombing, Vice President Kashim Shettima has apologized to the families of the victims of the bombing in Selame local government area of the state. 10 persons were killed in airstrikes on Christmas Day when the military targeted a logistics base of the Lakurawa insurgents group in 2 communities in the local government area. Shettima said it was one of those rare sad moments when innocent civilians are caught in crossfire in the ongoing efforts to rid the country of all forms of terror. The vice president spoke when he led a delegation from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to pay a condolence visit to the government and the people of Jigawa State on the passing of the mother and son of the state governor, Alhaji Umar Namadi.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to commiserate with the government and people of Jigawa State over the sad loss of the matriarch of the Namadi family, Hajiya Mariam, and Abdul Wahab, the eldest son of the governor. Death is an inevitable destiny that is hanging over everyone's neck. And our heart goes out to the family and to the entire government and people of Jigawa State. May Allah grant the souls of the deceased eternal rest and reward them with his Al-Jannah Firdaus. And may Allah also grant the family the fortitude to bear the irreparable losses.
In what may yet be another plus for the war on terror, the Nigerian Army has announced that it has arrested a woman who supplies arms and ammunition to terrorist kingpin Bello Turji. Sunday's announcement comes about a week after the Army announced the detention of some of Turji's suspected lieutenants. It had been reported that the terrorists released a video on Christmas Day saying those arrested were innocent elderly people in his ancestral community and threatened reprisal attacks on communities in Zamfara and other parts of northwest Nigeria where he operates. Now, on Sunday morning, the Army announced that troops of Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Fasanyama apprehended the 25-year-old suspected female ammunition carrier Shamsia Ahadu. The announcement came in a statement issued by the coordinator of the Joint Media Coordination Center of the operation, Abubakar Abdullahi. Security expert Darlington Umaru joined us earlier to explain what this latest arrest means for the war on terror.
Of small arms and light weapons is the basic challenge we are facing at the theater of the whole of all this. One major thing the military needs to do, aside from making arrests, is to cut supply. If they are able to cut the supply of these firearms, these small arms and light weapons, to the enemy's camp, and then the war is 50% won. Without these small arms and light weapons, it will be difficult for any of these terrorists or any other bandits to want to indulge in what they are doing at the moment. And so one of the things the military is currently targeting is on how to cut supply, whether infiltration into the country through our porous borders or within the system where the black marketeers have their ways of sending this equipment to these terrorists with which they commit the havocs.
Now to some political matters, where President of the Nigerian Senate and former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, has charged the Governor of Edo State, Monday Okpebholo, to sustain the infrastructure and socio-economic development that his administration has commenced. Senator Akpabio, who gave the advice when he received Governor Okpebholo in his Uyo country home, described him as a man of action, few words, and encouraged him to sustain his developmental strides. Addressing journalists after the meeting, Senator Akpabio described the victory of Governor Okpebholo in the September 21st gubernatorial election as a divine rescue for Edo people. On his part, Governor Okpebholo said his visit was to share ideas and tap from the wealth of experience of the Senate President.
Once again, congratulate you on your victory and assure you of our continuous support and prayers for you to lead your people to the El Dorado, and to assure Edo people that their votes were not misplaced. A man of very few words, but full of action. A determined fellow who has the heart of the common man. He has the common man right embedded in his heart. He's not boastful. He's not loquacious. But you will see more action in the man called Okpebholo.
I've come for uncommon impartation. If you see the development strive in Akwa Ibom, I've come to learn from him. I'm here just to get advice from him. 2024 is ending, and we are beginning 2025. By the grace of God, my coming here is to get that impartation for 2025. Amen. So I've come, and he has advised me.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has dismissed claims of a telecommunications tariff, that's a hike, allegedly set to take effect in January 2025. The Commission described the reports as false and unfounded, urging subscribers to disregard the misinformation. A senior NCC official speaking to newsmen on Sunday emphasized that the regulatory body operates under a transparent framework guided by the Nigerian Communications Act. According to the official, this framework requires stakeholder consultations and strict adherence to due process before any tariff adjustments are approved. NCC also appealed to journalists and industry stakeholders to verify information before publication, stressing the importance of accurate reporting to avoid unnecessary public panic. Reiterating its commitment to consumer interests and the stability of the telecommunications industry, the Commission assured Nigerians that updates on tariffs or related matters would always be communicated through official channels. Navigating a career path can be daunting, especially in today's world. Now, in Nigeria, where entrepreneurship and youth development are crucial to addressing economic challenges, mentorship has been identified as a key factor for success. In this report, News Central's Chidinma Ona explores insights from an educationist and seasoned entrepreneurs who share valuable advice for young people looking to set standards and thrive in uncertain times.
The road to building a successful career or business is often riddled with uncertainty. But experts believe mentorship can provide much-needed clarity to young people striving to make an impact. In a recent interview, an educationist underscored the transformative role of mentorship in shaping career choices and entrepreneurial aspirations, emphasizing its importance from a child's formative years through to adulthood.
Mentorship can happen anywhere. It can happen in the home, it can happen outside the home. The most important thing is this mentor, does the person have the experience, the character, the attribute, the qualification to offer this advice or training to this young person? And can they lead the child by the hand and guide them to achieve that attribute or that qualification, as the case may be, that the child is looking to? Are they willing to help build that character trait in that child so the child becomes whatever they are aiming to become?
Beyond mentorship, staying afloat in today's Nigeria requires discipline, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace innovation. Entrepreneurs also share their perspectives on building resilience in the face of adversity.
It's not been easy. It has not been easy. So I would say God and my persistence too. Like I'm always trying to reinvent my business, trying to catch up with the current market trends, just having that right mindset that, I can try out new things, and when I fail, I have people who love me to fall back to.
One should try as much as possible not to be pressured with the world of the social media, because you can say that you have people that just became rich overnight and everybody's just trying to figure out how they can be like those people too. So don't be pressured. No pressure. Just take your time, be calm, take your time, and you know that it's just a function of being consistent and being persistent to get to where you want to get to.
Career clarity might not come overnight, but with the right mentorship and a commitment to excellence, young people and entrepreneurs can navigate the uncertainties of today's world. In Lagos, reporting for News Central, I am Chidinma Ona.
Now let's circle down to politics, where the Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu has downplayed the possibility of running for governorship in Lagos State. Femi Gbajabiamila said he had little time to think about becoming Lagos State governor because he is currently occupied with his duties as Chief of Staff to the President. His comments come as a direct and personal rebuttal after months of speculation over his ambition to occupy Lagos State House in a race that has strongly drawn in both the current Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, and Sheyi Tinubu, the son of President Bola Tinubu, as interested contenders. Elections are not due until 2027, when incumbent Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu would have served out 2 straight terms in keeping with the limits set by the Constitution. Still in Lagos, the Lagos state government has approached the Supreme Court in its bid to overturn the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which quashed the conviction of Femi Olaleye, the managing director, Optimal Cancer Care Foundation, on a 2-count charge of defilement of a child and sexual assault by penetration. 3 grounds of appeal were included in the notice that was filed by the Lagos State Director of Public Prosecutions, Dr. Babajide Martins, Assistant Director Babajide Boye, and another director in the Ministry of Justice, Adebayo Harun, together with 3 additional attorneys. The grounds challenged the whole decision of the Court of Appeal, particularly the requirements that the evidence of the alleged survivor of the crime, names withheld, required corroboration, the failure of the trial court to conduct trial within trial on the confessional statements of the defendant, and the failure of prosecution to call the DPO to testify in the matter. Away from that, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has called on President Bola Tinubu to instruct the Code of Conduct Bureau to make his declared assets public. Now, in a press release dated December 28, 2024, and signed by SERAP's Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization also urged Vice President Kashim Shettima, ministers, state governors, and National Assembly leaders to follow the president's lead in promoting transparency. SERAP commended President Tinubu for his remarks during his first presidential media chat, where he hinted at the possibility of requesting the CCB to release his assets. However, the organization urged the president to take immediate action, arguing that swift directives will reinforce his commitment to accountability. The statement stressed that secrecy surrounding asset declarations by public officials remains a significant driver of corruption in Nigeria, undermining good governance at all levels. SERAP's call underscores growing public demand for transparency and accountability in Nigeria's leadership. We're now being joined by attorney at law Tunji Abdulhamid to help make sense of this latest move by the National Assembly. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, sir.
Thank you for having me. Compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you as well. Now, this is a moral call, but no less one that requires moral leadership to comply with. Do you see Mr. President doing the needful?
Yeah, I think there's nothing difficult in doing the needful here. It's just for you to just declare your assets and then make it public for everybody to see. If truly you are interested in fighting corruption, in enforcing transparency and accountability, I think it should not be a difficult thing for the president to do. After all, the late President Yaradua did the same thing, declared his asset publicly. The last president and the vice president, President Buhari and the vice president, Professor Yemi Osibajo, also declared their assets publicly. So if the president should do that, I don't see anything so difficult in it. If truly the president is interested in accountability and transparency. Like you said, it's a moral obligation. It's not required by law. The law did not require him to make that a publication or declaration publicly. But at least if you want to reinforce accountability and transparency, that will help a lot in doing that.
All right.
Beyond the declaration, though, because I've seen so many declarations, but there are no consequences thereafter. Do they even the Code of Conduct Bureau that is required to look into it? Do they do verification of this asset when declared? Do they even follow up thereafter? How many people have been alleged, have been convicted for wrong declaration or for a declaration of asset acquired after government? These are the issues. It's not only about declaration. It's very easy to declare, and I think the president may also, for the purpose of clapping or for the purpose of people saying okay, achievement recording, I will not be surprised if he declares it, if he make it open. But what will happen thereafter is the issue.
All right. Now, but should we be relying on the law to, get leaders to do what is right, or, should we rely on their goodness to get it right, since the law here doesn't mandate the president to actually make his declaration public?
The truth is that what is right is stated by law. Whatever that is not made wrongly by law is not. You can't say it's wrong. Whatever that is not wrong in line with our law is not wrong. So if the president decides if you want it to be mandated for any president or anybody to declare it publicly, I think the law should be changed to that effect. But as it is today, just like you said, it's a moral obligation, and it will not be wrong. It will be wrong to say we are trying to force them to do what is right. As long as the law did not say it's wrong, not to declare, I will not agree that it's wrong.
Okay. Now, this is SERAP's call, but the APC also took Jonathan to ask for, for him to do the same thing. And today we're seeing, a SERAP calling for the same thing as well. So what does this say about politics in this part of the world?
Yeah, you see, what I see about politics in this part of the world is that most of the people we call leader, they are just there for their personal interests. In other words, when they are outside, they say things that are good, things that are necessary, that will make things work or make things look better. Then when they get the opportunity, they do the opposite of it. And that is because I remember also even this president also made call to that effect. And now he's in charge. He's not. He's relying on people asking him to do it before doing so. I don't see anything. And now they will tell you the law did not require me to do so. Unfortunately, he'll be right. He'll be saying that. So I think, like I said earlier on, for me, it's not even about the declaration. Declaration does not make anything for me. It's not to declare. When they declare, what happened thereafter? Nothing. Nothing has been happening thereafter. The CCC are not up to their responsibility. They are not doing enough. They don't even verify what they declare to them. So if you declare when you are entering and you declare this property, when you are going, they don't even know whether it is right, you have acquired more or not. That we should be more concerned about CCC following up on whatever they declare, and at the end of the tenure, follow up as well to confirm whether or not they've acquired more property when they were in office, and what are the consequences of this property acquired? How did they get the money to acquire it? These are the major issues I think we should be asking, not about making it public. Making it public, what will happen thereafter? But President Buhari made it public. Former Vice President Tinubu made it public. What happened? Was there any confirmation of the asset acquired thereafter? None to me that I know. So for me, it's not about making it public. It's about what happened thereafter.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Turji, for speaking to us on this.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Enjoy it.
And with that, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you about the aftermath of Sokoto bombing, where residents say 10 dead and 9 critically injured. Stay with us. We had told you earlier that no fewer than 19 casualties have been confirmed following airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force on 2 communities in Sokoto State. Now, the strike carried out on Christmas Day as Nigerian military targeted terrorists belonging to the Lakurawa terrorist group allegedly hibernating in Gidansama and Rumtua communities. An attack claimed to have affected several innocent residents in the community. Although the defense headquarters has denied targeting innocent civilians, residents of the community have dismissed these claims, calling for justice. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudo reports live from Sokoto State.
A 2-hour journey on motorbikes from Wamako in Sokoto State to Gidansama, also called Gidambissa, and neighboring Rumtua in Silame local government area of the state. A journey not for the faint-hearted, through an area known to be infested with daredevil terrorists and bandits, exploiting hard-to-reach communities in the area, and usually a battleground for Nigerian military, attracting the firepower of its air component. The vast land in Sokoto North, a large forest big enough to host many countries, have been the enclave of these terrorists. Our investigation into the Christmas Day bombing of 2 communities believed to be hosting a new terror group in Nigeria, the Lakurawas, takes us through this dangerous path. They cheated us. We are really cheated in thousands because we don't know anything. In fact, this government, we don't know its use. We don't have any work apart from farming. We are not terrorists. Anyone involved in terrorism is known by the government. They said we keep dangerous weapons. Why can't they come and investigate? We are just on our own doing our farm work. We don't know anything else other than farming. We have never had any problems with anyone in court. Kill our livestock. Are you saying that after allegedly killing your people with bomb, others were shot on land? Wait a minute, how many people were allegedly killed by the bomb? 10 people. So you people were about to pick up the 10 bodies and were shot by land army? 13 persons. 3 are in the hospital, 10 death. Which hospital? 3 are in the hospital, 10 death. It was on Wednesday after morning prayers. We were just relaxing at home and we saw the fighter jets patrolling in the sky, going round. We now came out to start watching the fighter jets. Then all of a sudden the jet released a bomb. We don't know what we did. We have never seen a terrorist here. A Lakurawa man have never been here before. You mean no Lakurawa terrorists have ever come here before? Not at all. We have never seen them before. Though there was a time they came down there, we were told, but only those with farms around that axis can see them. And after narrating their ordeal, they took us to the graves of the 10 deceased, where they demand for justice for their families and loved ones. Neighboring communities who came to commiserate with the victims of the alleged Air Force bombing also support the claim that the two communities are not hosting the Lakurawa terrorist group. We are always with them, farming together, farming rice and millet. They are not troublemakers at all. From the loss of livestock to the loss of properties and of course human lives, the people of Rumtua village down there and then Gidan Sama village right here in Silami local government area of Sokoto State still await justice. In Sokoto State, Silami, Gidan Sama village. For News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that report. Now, more stories coming up after the break. Do stay. Activities in the education sector in Nigeria dominated public discourse for most part of 2024 from the sack of the former Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, whose controversial admission policy sparked off debates, to the protest by university senior staff and non-teaching staff. Now, President Bola Tinubu may have increased the budgetary allocation to education. It still did not meet the global benchmark of 26% budget allocation, despite his promise to reform the education sector, particularly the issue of out-of-school children. News Central's Omolola Ololade takes a look at the education sector in 2024.
Cautious optimism trailed President Bola Tinubu's signing of the 28.7 trillion naira 2024 budget into law, just as attention shifted to ministries, departments and agencies expected to provide monthly performance reports to the Nigerian public. Education is one of such ministries, and its major highlight for 2024 was the unveiling of a roadmap to significantly transform the sector until the sack of its minister, Professor Tahir Mamman, by the president, allegedly due to the slow progress of the reform happening in the sector. One of the major challenges inherited by the new minister was the high number of out-of-school children in the country. The northwestern part of Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children with 8.3 million, followed by Northeast with 5 million, North Central with 2.1 million, Southwest with 800,000, Southeast with 600,000, and South-South with 400,000, according to the World Bank. States like Kaduna, Oyo, Bauchi, and Katsina are working on getting out-of-school children back to the classroom. Lagos State is not left out, as the government has also expressed commitment to tackling the challenge.
In the ministry, we continuously rescue kids off the street. Some of them that we see that are able to be rehabilitated, we take them to our homes, rehabilitate them, and some of them, and after that we either integrate them back with their families or hand them over to our Ministry of Education to see if they can be educated.
In October, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities embarked on an indefinite strike to protest the non-payment of their withheld 4-month salaries by the federal government. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, may not have gone on strike this year. Their members remain unhappy about how they are being treated by the government, especially regarding implementation of agreements with the union.
Nigerian lecturers are poorer today than they were 20 years ago. Nigerian lecturers have been receiving the same salary in the last 15 years.
They are owing us for 4 months. They should pay 2 months, even if they can't pay the whole 4 months.
Every year you see a lot of professionals traveling out of Nigeria in search of greener pastures. Top on the list of these professions are the doctors. But what is more surprising is the fact that the number of lecturers traveling out of Nigeria in search of a better life are even more than the doctors, according to academics.
In this university alone, more than 100 young, brilliant scholars have left. Some are on the verge of leaving. In my own department alone, more than 4. And not only are they better paid, they are being retrained.
In 2023, Tinubu's administration launched the student loan scheme to increase the chances of students obtaining quality tertiary education. Over 104 billion naira have been disbursed to almost 615,000 students since inception, with a projection that the beneficiaries may hit 2.1 million soon, according to the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. In spite of the progress made so far, some students remain skeptical about the loan scheme.
Even if I'm in a million naira, imagine paying 120,000 naira every month because of. So I know I won't be able to enjoy my life and this kind of lifestyle for myself.
Collect a loan and the student eventually finish from school. What if the student does not find a job on time? Will the student be still entitled to that loan?
Although far from UNESCO's 26% benchmark for budgetary allocation, Nigeria's 15% budget for education this year is seen as a step in the right direction, as it remains the highest the country has budgeted in the past 8 years.
I think that the president needs to do more, not only at the federal level, but at the state level as well. There's the need for us to have an educational policy that focuses on the needs and aspirations of Nigeria. What do we want Nigeria to look like in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 25 years? That will shape our educational policy, which will determine the resources that is allocated to education.
However, many Nigerians hope that the recent appointment of Dr. Tunji Alausa as the new Minister of Education will help revitalize the education sector in 2025 and beyond, as transforming education is critical to Nigeria's growth and competitiveness in the world. In Lagos for News Central, I am Omolola Ololade.
We're now being joined by education expert Dr. Peter Ogudoro in Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ogudoro.
It's my pleasure to join you.
Now, we've seen how the sector has fared in 2024, and many believe that it could have been better. What exactly were the gaps that weren't filled this year?
Well, we still haven't understood the fact that education remains the bedrock of development, and as it is an indispensable instrument for accelerating development of any country. And of course, those of us who do research in the field of development and education, we know that all the countries we all desire to go and live in are countries that got to where they are, starting with significant investment in education, because that is what lays the foundation. for development, no matter what country and what location you're talking about. In our circumstance as a country, we are very unfortunate to have politicians who train their children abroad. Of course, realizing that education is very important for empowerment of the individual and for achieving financial independence and freedom. But unfortunately, they are so selfish that they don't think that the ordinary people who give them their votes and give them the opportunity to occupy the political spaces also deserve to enjoy similar quality of education. And so they don't care. Again, it does look like they don't even show any interest in giving us a philosophy of education. So teachers don't even know why they're in the classrooms. We don't train them properly. We don't fund education well. And nobody seems to be very desperate about giving as many Nigerian children as possible access to good quality education. You gave the report there which makes it very clear that over 15 million children out of school in just one part of Nigeria, northern Nigeria, and that's very scandalous. Population is Norway in 3 places, it's Finland in 3 places, and I think that we don't look like a very serious country.
All right, Doctor. Now, you talked about how, we have a selfish leadership, especially when it comes to, pushing for education. Now, from an expert's point of view, what are some quick steps that can be taken to secure better fortunes come 2025?
It is important that we first tell ourselves the truth, accept that education is an indispensable instrument for achieving development, and that the Nigerian child should be given opportunity to go to school, that education is a right, and that both at primary and secondary school level, really, even if we want them to pay a little money at higher education level, that education should be given to the Nigerian child for free. If you ask me, I would actually encourage our politicians to make education free at all levels, because we can actually afford it if we want to. Now that we're talking about NEL fund and they need to lend money to Nigerian children, it does mean really that that money is there. As we speak, if we're going to lend money to every child, every teenager in the university to go to school, it means that we are no longer insisting that their parents have to pay a dime, at least for the 4 years they're in school. We can as well take that burden off their shoulders so that they can concentrate and get good quality education, and stop wasting so much on parliamentarians who are doing little or nothing to add value to our lives.
All right.
And I think that we need to improve governance. We need to improve governance in the education system. We need to train our teachers to learn how to teach. There's so much focus on teaching, by way of helping children to cram and pass exams and get, diplomas which don't amount to much in terms of skills and knowledge. We need to realize that in the world we live in today, certificate is secondary, skill is everything. And if we're going to make our children globally competitive, we have to ensure that indeed we are giving them education that truly empowers them to create jobs for themselves, and of course help us to also create jobs for others, rather than the current system where every child is being told that when he graduates he's going to work in Shell, he's going to work a manufacturing facility, and those facilities don't even exist. And many of the oil companies are shutting down, and the opportunities have disappeared almost completely.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to us on this, Dr. Ogudoro, at this time. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Now, moving away from Nigeria, at least 7 civilians were killed and several others wounded in Sudanese Army airstrikes south of Khartoum. The strikes hit residential areas in the southern belt of the capital, including the neighborhoods of Mayo, Al-Ingaz, Al-Azari, Al-Salama, and Kababish. Since the conflict erupted in April 2023, the Army and the Rapid Support Forces have been engaged in heavy fighting. A statement by activists say that the victims included a man, a woman, and a child, adding that Bashar Hospital had received 2 bodies and was treating 7 wounded people. Another man died in the Al-Kababish area. Now, the army had intensified airstrikes against RSF positions in Khartoum and other parts of Sudan in recent weeks, drawing criticism from human rights groups and political factions over civilian casualties. And up next is business news.
The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has said that the Central Bank of Nigeria misappropriated the interest it charged on the Ways and Means advances of over 4.4 trillion naira granted to the government. The OAGF said the Apex Bank treated the Ways and Means advances as if it was a facility from local and foreign lenders and should therefore be asked to refund the over 2.7 trillion naira to the federal government. The position of the Accountant General is contained in its response to a query from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation on the consolidated financial statements of the federal government for the year ended December 31, 2021. The Auditor General for the Federation has said in the 2021 audit report that the Consolidated Revenue Fund and 4 other ministries, departments and agencies had overdrawn bank balances amounting to 17.106 trillion naira without evidence of approval by relevant authorities to support the overdrawn bank accounts. The Nigerian Gas Association, the apex body and advocacy voice for the gas industry in Nigeria, has said it is rebranding to align with the Bola Tinubu-led administration in promoting sustainability, clean energy sources and innovation. The group promises to play its role as the lead industry advocate to help unlock the latent potential in Nigeria's vast energy resources. The new brand identity symbolizes a mission that is evolving from advocacy for policy reforms and investments to positioning natural gas as the central pillar of Nigeria's economic growth, energy transition, and environmental sustainability. The new logo aligns with Nigeria's commitment to sustainability, capacity development, best practices, and efficiency. African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, has called for strategic investments in empowering Africa's youth to harness the continent's economic potential. Benedict Okeorama, President, Afreximbank, made the call at the 5th edition of the Youth Summit, organized by a Grand Africa initiative themed Connecting Africa Through Youth Entrepreneurship and Digital Innovation in Abuja. Orama emphasized that the continent's future and its standing in global socio-economic discussions depend on its youth. He underscored the importance of Africa's youthful population, noting that 60% of the continent's population under the age of 25. He said, Africa is home to the youngest and fastest growing population globally. This vibrant demographic holds immense potential to drive economic and social agenda. Finally, the Central Bank of Libya announced its intention to launch a series of financial awareness and education programs, including explanatory video clips explaining how to subscribe to instant payment services. The CBL explained on its Facebook page that this step comes within the framework of the strategy to enhance financial inclusion and raise people's awareness of available electronic payment services. It published a video clip introducing the OnePay electronic payment service, its features, and how to activate it. The CBL announced in the past 2 days that the total value of transactions using the OnePay service exceeded 1 billion dinars since its launch 3 months ago. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Up next is sports news.
In the world of sport, world champion Anthony Joshua is in his hometown in Shagamu, Ogun State, Nigeria, celebrating his Yoruba heritage. A video of the heavyweight champion enjoying the vibrant atmosphere has gone viral on social media, showcasing the two-time world champion moving gently to Fuji music as locals gathered around to celebrate his presence. While in Ogun State, Joshua made time to interact with local leaders, community members, and fans. He often shares his Yoruba pride on social media and interviews, regularly celebrating Nigerian traditions and holidays. Joshua, a former unified world heavyweight champion, has enjoyed great success in boxing world, having held multiple titles between 2016 and 2021. President of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Alhaji Ibrahim Guzo, has expressed optimism about the future of Nigerian football following the Chan Eagles' 3-1 victory over Ghana in Uyo. Nigeria achieved a landmark moment by defeating Ghana for the first time in an African Nations Championship qualifier, securing their ticket to the tournament's 8th edition scheduled for February 2025 in Tanzania, Kenya and Uganda. Guzo highlighted the team's determination, noting that their performance demonstrated the resilience of Nigeria to overturn expectations. He emphasized the importance of thorough preparation for the tournament next year. The Confederation of African Football Disciplinary Board has handed down fines and sanctions to several clubs and federations following misconduct incidents during the CAF Champions League, Confederation Cup, and African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 qualifiers. In the CAF Champions League, Siarou Belouizdad from Algeria were fined $10,000 for fan-related misconduct involving smoke bombs during the match against Orlando Pirates from South Africa on the 26th of November 2024. Asfar from Morocco received $15,000 fine for similar behavior, including the use of smoke bombs and lasers during the match against Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa on the 7th of December 2025. In the CAF African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 qualifiers, several federations faced penalties. Equatorial Guinea were fined $5,000 for poor security leading to a pitch invasion during their match against Togo on the 14th of November 2025. Benin Republic also faced a fine of $55,000, $25,000 suspended for misconduct and failing to cooperate with CAF Disciplinary Board during the qualifier against Rwanda. The Beninese Football Federation was found in violation of Article 45 of the CAF Disciplinary Code. In the CAF Confederation Cup, CS Fassien from Tunisia were fined $20,000 after their supporter threw devices during a fixture against CS Constantine from Algeria on the 27th of November 2024. USM Alger from Algeria also faced a fine of $10,000 with $5,000 suspended for similar misconduct during the match against Orapa United from Botswana on the same day. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
That's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that casualty toll has risen from Iran's Nigerian military airstrike on Christmas Day in Sokoto State. We also told you that troops have arrested terror kingpin Bello Turji's female ammunition supplier in Zamfara. Finally, you heard that civilians killed in airstrikes by Sudanese army. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.